The San Francisco 49ers just did what we all wanted. They just won dirty. They just won a game that was starting to feel like it was getting away from them, and they went in there and took care of business. We got a lot to break down in this game. If you're new here, I'm Nate. I love talking the 49ers. Please consider a like and sub. Let me know how you felt about that game in the comments below. Join me in the comments. Let's talk about what happened in that game. I look forward to your perspectives all the time. I need to start elevating your guys' comments. I keep forgetting to do that. I need to start posting them up on the screen because you guys have fantastic point of view. I love talking about it. But the 49ers, the bottom line is this. They went in there against the Dallas Cowboys, and when it mattered most, they figured out a way to kill off the game. They figured out a way to win dirty, not dirty, ugly. They won an ugly game, and that's super important, and there's so much to break down in this game. I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of stuff, but the first version of it, the first piece that we have to talk about, as we now look at that big number up there, 14 days until Tampa Bay. You had to go in on the bye week. You had to go in with a W against the Cowboys, against a terrible Cowboys. And I know there was enough bad stuff that there's going to be plenty of drama to talk about for the next 2 weeks. But the bottom line is the 49ers got the game done with a W. That's the thing that's most important. And coming out of the game, there's some stuff that's really fascinating, guys. Like, I've got all sorts of crazy notes here from the game and from the storylines before the game, some of the stats coming into the game. And when you look at it, how we stacked up against the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, just look at it. In passing yards, we're second in the league coming into this game. The Dallas Cowboys are 10th in the league. In first downs, we are 12th in the league coming into this game. The Cowboys 31st in the league. And I want to be clear here. This was a much better Dallas Cowboys team than what has been showing on the television the last several weeks. The team showed up to play, and they did lay a bit of an egg in the third quarter, no doubt. And I think the 49ers have a lot of credit for that situation that played out. But my goodness, the Dallas Cowboys looked better, and I started to get a little bit nervous in that first half. We put up 3 points in the first quarter, 3 points in the second quarter. We go in at half 10-6, and it did not feel good. It was an ugly first half. And there were some big moments there. Isaac Grendo had a couple big moments, some huge runs in there. But there were some things that happened that pushed it, that called things back. The biggest one for me, and, you know, it's called on him, so I just have to call him out, Eric Saubert, with the hold that called back an amazing touchdown play to Deebo Samuel. If I go to the team stats here, by the way, you're going to see something kind of interesting here. So the San Francisco 49ers, my goodness, guys, 9 penalties for 73 yards. That's, of course, not including potential yardage gained. That's 73 yards in penalties. That play alone would have doubles that number right there. That one play alone, Eric Saubert holds. And that would have been a 70-ish yard play to Deebo Samuel for a touchdown. What an incredible play that gets called back. And then Deebo Samuel has a couple drops, and all of a sudden things are falling apart. The wheels are falling off, and we can't figure out what the heck is going on. And I saw it, Faithful on Twitter, just like, what is going on right now? What is happening? Because statistically, and how many times has this happened this season? Statistically, the team is doing things the right way. Brock Purdy's stats looked good in the first half, but the eye test didn't look so good. He was decent, but there were definitely some things that left to be desired. This game as a whole, not a performance that Brock Purdy is going to look back on and feel really proud of. There are moments in there that were not great, but there were a lot of moments in there that were. And there were a lot of moments, and that's what I want to focus on today, because you know what? The victory is the victory is the victory. That's what matters. At the end of the day, your team has to win. You know why I say that? Because when we lost games we should have won, and we talked about all the things that went wrong, and everyone's like, yeah, but you lost. So now we're going to say, yeah, but we won, because that seems only fair. Now, a couple things here. Number one, third down efficiency. At one point, at the end of the third quarter, this was looking actually really good. The third down efficiency was looking pretty positive, and then things didn't go so well in the fourth quarter. You saw what happened. But, 50% is like bare minimum of where you want to be in third down efficiency. Heck of a lot better than Dallas Cowboys. Crazy when you look at statistically, again, how good the 49ers were to have 469 total yards of offense to 292, and yet the Cowboys were moments away of potentially winning that game. This is the thing that's driving me crazy. And this is why people, say the eye test, right? And here I am getting negative again. But in the passing game, fairly, even, I guess you could say. In the rushing game was where things were wildly different. 223 yards on the ground to 56 yards for the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers handled that particular aspect of the game super, super well. By the way, red zone efficiency, that'll bump the numbers up for all the haters out there who've, really been hating on the 49ers red zone efficiency. The 49ers have been working on the red zone. You can see that for sure. The 49ers have been working on the red zone. If you take away those penalties, and I mean, if you took away all the penalties in the game, both sides of the ball, the 49ers absolutely destroy the Cowboys. The critical mistakes and errors and penalties for the 49ers were far more impactful than the critical mistakes and errors for the Dallas Cowboys. Overall time of possession, again, like every metric you look at, the 49ers played better. 32 minutes and 42 seconds time of possession. And the 49ers this season have been really great winning that time of possession battle, bar last week. That was the one caveat to those stats. And then it's very interesting when you look at the turnovers because the 49ers forced 2 fumbles, didn't recover them though, however. And then Brock Purdy had a little bit of a fumble deal, and that one got away with. Brock Purdy also had an almost interception, got away with that one too. So it's kind of an interesting one there because I think it kind of evens out a little bit there that the 49ers do win that turnover battle. But it is interesting that, we had 2 forced fumbles that we didn't get, and they had 2 opportunities that could have gone their way and bounced their way, and they didn't either. So I'm going to call that a wash. In terms of fourth down efficiency, 49ers didn't get the one that they went for. Deebo absolutely just dropped it wasn't a perfect ball, but it was a very, very catchable ball. Dropped that one there. That was a little bit of a disappointment there. As it all turns out for the 49ers, let's take a look at Brock Purdy, of course. 18 for 26, 260 yards in the air, but really critical was what he did on the ground. 8 carries for 56 yards, an average of 7, and a TD there. Now, on that, there was some really interesting, as I'm just looking at my notes, like that third quarter was absolutely incredible. So 49ers come out, and there's really great field position because of a bad kick. I don't know what was going on with the kick. Somebody tell me what was going on. If you were at the game, it didn't look that windy. I couldn't figure out what was going on. Both teams had some really weird, windy kicks, and I understand that some players, as a soccer player myself, I understand some aspects of how you kick a ball, but I understand there's like a little bit of a knuckling thing that they're intentionally trying to do, but a couple of them just got way out of the way. Then the Cowboys have that one kick that comes up short, doesn't even make it into the zone, and so that gets us on the 40-yard line. That's the one that starts off the second half. So then that turns into a touchdown. How it all plays out, of course, big play to Kittle on that one. Anyway, they get there, get a Grendo. Oh, Grendo hits the hole so fast on that touchdown play. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. The very next drive, Demo gets a huge interception. And we get the ball back, and we convert that one for a touchdown as well. And that's where you felt like, okay, now we're getting close to being able to put this game away. And then the 49ers do some good stuff there. The play in the 8th offensive drive where Brock Purdy fakes it to Pearsall, fakes it to Deebo, and then runs up the gut was absolutely incredible. Love that play. And then Purdy sneaks in, QB sneak for the TD on that one as well. Now you're up 27-10. and you're feeling really, really good about what's going on in this game. And that's where things started to get a little bit funky because we let the Cowboys back in. And there were a couple key drives there that we're going to need to talk about later this week that I'm sure you're going to hear a lot of people talking about in the media, where the defense could not get off the field. The defense could not handle what the Cowboys were doing. And that's a little concerning because a couple of them, I don't even understand how it happened. Like I have to watch the All-22 to figure out what in the world happened. How does CeeDee Lamb get 2 of the easiest touchdowns he'll ever get in his entire career in the same game against us? That's a problem for sure. But even in the first half, that must have been the third drive. No, third drive. Yeah. Struggling to stop the run. And we give up a 3rd and 9. And immediately when I hear that, and I see that in my head, I'm like, okay, the next thing that happens when you give up a 3rd and 9 is what? Something bad usually happens after that. They get a couple plays in there. We get to a 3rd and 11, and we give that up too. You give up a 3rd and 9 and a 3rd and 11, and then they end up scoring a touchdown. And when you give up 2 big 3rd down plays, when they're 3rd and long, you look back at those and you say that was 100% on the defense. You can feel very confident calling that on the defense. You'd understand every once in a while giving up a 3rd and short because you'd like to say, should have done better on the first down, should have done better on the second down. But to do well enough to get into the position where you're in 2 3rd and long scenarios in the same drive, to lose those and then give up a touchdown is quite a problem there. And that Zeke touchdown just felt like easy. It felt easy. And there were several touchdowns the Cowboys scored that just felt easy. And I don't know if it's like, hey, man, we're 8 weeks into the season. Everybody's ready for a break. And the team is just breaking down. I mean, injuries galore. I mean, I actually wrote down all of the injuries to the team because I was worried if I wanted to reference the injuries, I would forget who the injuries were. I forget because there's so many injuries. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. So all of that being said, the good news is this, guys. The 49ers go into this game, and there's a lot of storylines that need to be, kind of reconciled. Number one, how flat they were against Kansas City Chiefs, how lifeless they were, how energy-less they were. This was a much more passionate team. Not perfect, still made huge mistakes we got to come back to, but definitely like there to play. Fred Warner, there to play. George Kittle, there to play. Isaac Guerrero, there to play. We got to talk about him. My goodness. Dude, that he probably gets a game ball. Wow. So the 49ers show up, all said and done. The thing that we needed to happen is that they needed to win. And the 49ers, the more dirty, ugly games that they win, not dirty, I keep saying that. The more ugly games that they win, the more confident they're going to feel going through a hardship from time to time and coming out the end on top. So you wipe off that LA Rams loss. You wipe off that Arizona Cardinals loss by going out there and winning an ugly game. That's what you do. And they did it against the Seahawks. And then they laid an egg against the Kansas City Chiefs, which I'm going to write off for a couple reasons. Not write off like, obviously it happened. It's still it still counts against us, right? But here's what I would say about the Kansas City Chiefs. One, that was a game that was a real fluke in terms of energy, attitude. Things just felt really weird. And then you had Deebo just showing up, thinking he's going to play. The game plan is accounting for him. And then it looked like until the second half, the 49ers had no plan for what to do without Deebo on the field. And whoever you want to throw blame at on that, regardless, it doesn't matter. Who cares? Throw your blame wherever you want. The point is that's a bad situation. And clearly the 49ers were not ready. Well, they corrected that problem. Ricky Pearsall looked much more ready to play. And the 49ers looked much more ready to use Ricky Pearsall in the offensive scheme today. That's awesome. They really got him involved. They had some ideas for him. You could see that. And they did not seem to have those ideas ready for him in his first ever opening game against the Kansas City Chiefs. So there was a lot about that Kansas City Chiefs game that was just weird that I kind of want to write off in a way and say, like, put that one aside for a second here. that was a scheduled loss anyways, maybe you say. But when you look at how the 49ers claw back from some moments that were not quite going your way in Seattle and make sure that they get that W, big win. The same thing happened against the Dallas Cowboys, where the Dallas Cowboys are coming back and the 49ers found a way to win. And that's what you need to do. That's what you have to do. Your defense needs to figure it out and get the team off the field. And Demo, we got Deommodore Lenoir. Pay that guy as soon as you can. Do not let him hit free agency. My word, he is an incredible football player. He really is. He is an incredible football player. Give that guy as many game balls as he wants. He is incredible. I'm stoked that he's playing for us right now. In terms of reconciliation from last week, quarterback rankings, you kind of give Brock Purdy an F against the Kansas City Chiefs. Today, I would give him a B-. Let me know what you would give him. Skill position players, last week, somewhere in like the C range is probably where you're at. I have him at like a C+ last week. This week, I would put those skill position players B+, just off the top of my head. I need to watch it back to be confident on that. Offensive line looked pretty decent for the most part today. There was that one that was given up, that Guerrero, I think it was his missed block, that Brock Purdy got absolutely lit up. The fact that he held onto that ball is the reason that the game still went to the 49ers, because I think a fumble there, Dallas ball, I don't know how you come back from that, because you're down 6. Being down 6 is a real problem. Or being up 6 is a real problem when the other team gets the ball in a scoring position. That's a real issue. It's such an easy way to lose. The defensive line, I thought, were absolutely incredible. The defensive line was a little bit controversial last week. Some people had them graded like uppers in the C- area. Some people at the D+. I thought the defensive line was outstanding today. The defensive line was fantastic, putting pressure on all game long. The most consistent thing about this football team today was the pressure coming from the defensive line. There are a couple times where you could say they lost the outside containment, things like that. I'm not saying they're perfect, but my goodness, I'd give them an A. I'd give them an A today, because I think that the interceptions were forced because of the defensive line putting pressure on the quarterback. I think there are moments, the sacks, obviously, some of the times that the run was stopped in the first line, like that's always ideal. When your defensive line stuffs the run, that's always the ideal scenario. Thought secondary was decent, but because of those last couple drives and then the touchdowns just being wide open, that falls on the secondary, so that's going to hurt their grade. I don't know where they'd be at, maybe like a B-. I don't know, at best. Special teams, I don't think, let me know if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't think there was any big play. I think it's the second game of the season, only the second game of the season, where they didn't have a major blunder. That was, as far as I'm concerned. Let me know. I don't have anything written down. I think that the special teams finally had a game where they didn't blow up a huge play. That's fantastic. Yay, special teams. You did something. Coaching-wise, I thought it was decent, but I'd really like to know what was going on with those big, wide-open touchdown plays that we gave up. Good news, the 49ers won. They can go take a break. They're going to come back feeling a lot better. I think Brock Purdy's going to have a lot of film to look at to figure out what's going on and what's going wrong. Only he knows what's going on in his head. So I'm confident that Brock Purdy's going to come back looking more like his fresh self. That's exciting. We got guys like Jordan Mason needs to get healthy. Juwan Jennings hopefully is going to get healthy. I don't know what's going on with his hip, but hopefully he's healthy. You could see Brock Purdy just really does struggle to build those connections with some of these younger guys, some of the newer guys, even guys like Conley. He's just not hitting them well. Had one errant pass that went over George Kittle, but overall, a lot of good passes were made for sure. Overall, decent, nice yardage there. Stats, look pretty good, so I'll take that as a positive. But I do think that there are moments out there where you wish Juwan Jennings was in the slot. You just need him. You need that guy. He's so reliable. Happy for Pearsall. Way happy for Pearsall. His big run The timing on his big run, that like must have been like a 30-yarder or something like that, was absolutely insane. When I saw him in motion, and he's fast. He's surprisingly fast. He's very quick. When I saw him in motion, the handoff happened so quickly that I literally like double take for a second. Does Brock still have the ball? There's no way he handed that off already. Like it was so, the timing was so clean, and he just afterburners immediately. And it was one of those situations where it actually probably plays out better for you if you don't have Conley blocking in front of you, because Conley like slows down the run. Anyway, doesn't really matter. The point is the 49ers won. Let's go. I'm stoked about it. Going into the bye week, 4-4. You'll take it considering how things could have gone. You obviously would expect right now to be 6-2 versus 4-4, but you'll take 4-4 for now, and we'll just continue. We'll lick our wounds, figure out what's going on wrong, and hopefully have some nice answers going into Tampa Bay, another team who, they're going to be they lost today, so I'm sure they're going to be fighting for their life. But you know what? You did it against the Dallas Cowboys, who are the most desperate team, potentially the most desperate team in the NFL when it comes to the situation they're in, and how a win today would have completely changed the next steps of their season. So, and plenty of big games ahead of them. Coming off the bye week to get a win against a team who had an entire week of extra rest than you, you'll take that one right now, and you'll go get a break, get some rest. I'm stoked about it. What a time to be alive.